more, you know, if you're interested in this, then yeah, welcome to reading things. So, mounting local disks failed. Unrecognized error detected. So we guessed it unknown. So it can't read, like, this terminal itself is corrupted. But yeah, nope, nothing that we can even do here. So library archive is currently unavailable while system resources are redirected to handle incoming network messages. Use the access com portal command to access network functions. Yes, let me access network functions. Error. Run Milton. Yes, Milton, troubleshoot this for me, please. Hello, guest. Is there something you'd like help with today? You might want to kick back and relax, grab a beverage of choice. This is going to be a doozy, I think. So, first of all, Milton, will you tell me about you, please? The MLA program is designed to facilitate user interaction with the resource library. This is achieved by providing powerful sorting and troubleshooting functionalities, which we already knew, delivered via an intuitive human language interface, which kind of also already knew, I guess. Your query, troubleshoot. There are errors. Help us make them go away. I think you'd like help accessing network functions. Liar. Machines don't think. The most common cause of network problems is holding insufficient account privileges. Please enter the admin password to authenticate your privileges. QWERTY, God, let me in, trust no one, or admin. Oh, admin, sure. Nope. God. Let me in. Login aborted. Too many failed attempts. Would you like to create a new admin account? Yes. Why didn't I ask for that in the first place? In order to... We'll just do your thing. In order to prevent unauthorized access to admin controls, please take a moment to prove that you are not a bot. So, loading the program, you will now be asked for a series of inputs. To cohere with data protection legislation, interesting, you must consent to have your responses used to develop a broad psychometric profile. Raw response data will be deleted immediately. Your profile will only be made available to other administrators. Generating certification part 1, it's ready. Please complete all fields. Please answer quickly and instinctively. Time is a factor in this assessment. Are you ready? Okay. All right. I'm gonna another sip of wine. Yes. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. 2 plus 2. 4. What is your subjective reaction to this image? Face. What best describes a person? Human being, citizen, rational animal, being of negative entropy, a problem-solving system. Person would be a human being, I think. Sure, you're walking through the desert and you come across a thirsty traveler. His eyes bulge from slow dehydration. You have water, but you're not sure how far it is to the next oasis. Do you offer him half of your water? All of your water? Do you ignore him? Do you ask, what are you doing in this desert? Or do you kill him and collect his blood in a flask for later? Yes. Actually, that might not be good for proving that I'm a human. Well, I don't know, maybe. Kill all humans? Part 1 has been completed. You will receive some sort of notification when Part 2 has been generated. So, how I mentioned that, like, the eyes on the computer terminal will blink when it has stuff for us, we'll be notified like that at some point in the future when Part 2 of the test is ready. Maybe I shouldn't have tried to kill this guy and put all of his blood in the flask. I mean, it's something to drink, right? Right? You're with me on this, right? Right? Okay, so now it's actually apparently been able to load local files. So we got 3 things. IAN.email, Athena analysis, and then the Talos principle.txt. Athena analysis, assuming these dates are correct, although 260 BCE is not, that computers don't do that. That's not how computers work. Things don't work like that. And then there's also the stuff over here on the left. So LOC, web crawl, and then CL_arch. There's stuff. There's a lot to decipher here, and I probably won't fully understand everything until I've beaten the game at least once. But anyway, 2031 for the Athena analysis. Zeros again for the IAN.email, so that's probably, like, the last thing that was at year 0 was Nadia Sarabai's email to Alexandra Drennan saying, hey, I know that I'm, technically in charge of your project, but no, we'll really let you be in charge. I promise. Wink. And the Talos principle is 260 BCE, which seems like it's going to be an old thing. So yes, Ian. What is this? So let's try that again. From Frank Nagatai. Yatai? 2 miles. And Dan. Subject Ian! Yay! Exclamation point. My first day at the Institute for Applied Pneumatics, which the email that we saw previously was Institute for Applied N with the rest of the word cut off. So yeah, Institute for Applied Pneumatics. On the way to work, I'm terrified. What if they don't like me? What if they're all geniuses and I'm a complete buffoon? Maybe they were just kidding about letting me work there. And they're gonna laugh at me. Trembling, I walk in, and right at the entrance, there's a life-sized poster of Jeff Goldblum. What the hell? And then I get it. Institute for Applied Pneumatics. IAN. Dr. Ian Malcolm from the Jurassic Park movies. Jeff Goldblum. Bam. Look at that. Also Terry Quattro from the GE light bulb commercial, which was fan-freaking-tastic. Dr. Sarabai shows up. Oh yeah, Nadia Sarabai. We know her. She shows up smiling. We were trying to find a cool acronym back when the Institute was first founded. INAN? IAPN? INAPNO? It all sounded stupid, but we didn't just want to call it Ian because, well, that's somebody's name. And then somebody made a joke about calling it Jeff, and then it just kind of stuck. So we're officially called IAN, Ian, but if you hear anybody referring to Jeff, that's our internal name, I guess. I know. Bloody geeks. After that conversation, I wasn't so scared anymore. Again, I don't know. I don't trust Nadia Sarabai. I don't think she's sincere. This reeks of insincerity, like making minor concessions so that people will be happy and go along with you when you have something sinister planned. I don't really have anything to base that off of, but I'm hoping to find something to base that paranoia off of before the game is over. All right, Athena analysis. So we read a chapter 6 of the Athena story thing about like weird metallic trees and eternal life and like the apple of knowledge and something. So I'm assuming there's going to be notes around that. Also, Alexandra Drennan is the lead of some mystery project. So Alexandra, I suspect that user Alex16, brief words. Have another sip of wine. I'm assuming that relates to her, but again, just another assumption. Who knows at this point? So, note number 1. Gibberish. Novel's first sentence, she woke up in an impossible place, knowing nothing, signifies more than the beginning of another amnesia-based mystery, though we should not go so far as to read the entire work as allegory. Rather, while taking the science-fictional novus at the core of the narrative at face value, we should... Also, waking up in an impossible place knowing nothing sounds a lot like One with Faith, that QR code we read at some point in the last video. I don't know, interesting connection there. Anyway, note number 2, having no inherent knowledge of the nature of the world, forced to rely on what we are told by others and what our own subjective, flawed, and limited senses tell us. ASCII code that I'm going to decipher and Again, reminder, it's going to be in the description of the video, and it's probably also going to be up in an annotation on the side here, somewhere. Maybe right here, once I decipher it. Yes, so forced to rely on what we were told by others and what our own subjective, flawed, and limited senses tell us. Social reality, belief, and objective reality, matter, come into conflict. So belief and matter, or like facts, substantiated things, come into conflict. Okay. I wish we knew what the rest of that sentence was. Note number 3. When in chapter 16, and we only read chapter 6, assuming this is even of the same thing, but when in chapter 16, a second awakening in the kingdom of Artemis, the protagonist questions her mentor on the... Yeah, really incomplete, kind of frustrating. Note number 4, a more meaningful interpretation can only be achieved through synthesis of... That's all we got. So the Talos principle.text. Archive 260 BCE F12. Straton of Stagira? I'm probably pronouncing those wrong. Don't really care. So, whether it is true that Daedalus constructed the giant Talos, or, as others say, he was the creation of Hephaestus, what we may be certain of is that he was made of bronze and had but one vein, within which flowed a liquid substance like blood, which some claim was quicksilver and others assert was ichor, such as flows in the veins of the gods. The loss of that liquid caused him to die, as a man dies when he loses his blood. May we not then say that Talos, although created as a machine or a toy, had all the essential properties of a man? He moved of his own volition, he spoke and could be spoken to, had wishes and desires. Indeed, in the tale of the Argonauts, that was the cause of his downfall. If, then, a machine may have all the properties of a man, and act as a man, while driven only by the ingenious plan of its construction and the interaction of its materials according to the principles of nature, then does it not follow that man may also be seen as a machine? This contradicts all the schools of metaphysics. Yet even the most faithful philosopher cannot live without his blood. Remind me to talk about Talos, which was an actual thing. I need to do that. I need to put that in here. But this is interesting because this is referring to so there was this creation, a thing that was very clearly mechanical and was built by a human. And it was Talos, and it was a giant bull, and we'll talk about all that stuff. And if this thing that was created, and it had this stuff flowing through it, quicksilver or something similar, analogous to blood flowing through this mechanical system. And the legends have it that this thing acted rationally, and you could interact with it, and it was a lifelike thing. And then when this quicksilver or this ichor or whatever was inside of it, when this vein was split and it was opened, and this goo, this liquid came out of it, the machine stopped working. That sounds an awful lot like a human, even though it was clearly mechanical. And so we're getting into weird robot, AI, what is really a human, could machines be considered to be people, or could people be considered to be machines? That's where this is starting to go, I think. And by I think, I mean, yeah, that's clearly what they're hinting at here with the Talos principle text. Let's see what this thing is here, because it looks important.
When I was a little girl, one of our teachers, Mrs. Higgins, told us to make a time capsule, write letters to the future, so one day we could remember what it was like to be children. I thought it was stupid, so I didn't do it, which I really regret. So, I guess I'm gonna make one now, bury it in the archive instead of under a tree. I don't know if anybody will ever find it, but somehow it seems important to keep talking, to keep thinking, for as long as I can.
Okay, so we're learning that somebody, some mystery voice. Yeah, we have a time capsule here. Somebody is leaving some sort of time capsule in the archive. We can access it here. So maybe we are more tightly coupled with the archive than we realize. Last but not least, there is QR code here. I can't tell if the documents on the terminals are all that's left from a larger archive, which is kind of like the obvious answer, what it seems to be, or if they are carefully designed to communicate some hidden truth. That's the more interesting option. I vote for that one. I hope that's what actually happens here. Signed Sheep, version 69. Oh yeah. And if you are here for the story stuff, let's see what our blinking eyeball terminal friend has to say. Hello, Milton. Aha! Part 2 of the certification program has been generated. Part 2 has been designed to test the consistency of some of your outlier responses in the previous round. Like the guy who I wanted to murder and then put his blood in a flask so that I had something to drink for later. You know, no big deal. You will be presented with a series of statements. Please indicate your agreement where appropriate. Are you ready? Let me just have another sip of wine here. Yes. Yes, I am ready. Let us begin. Since all human beings are persons, and some human beings have psychological capacities similar to them, and some human beings have psychological capacities similar to animals, some animals are therefore persons. I don't think so. In general, I disagree. A person is under no authority other than that to which they consent. So the only authority that applies to a person is the authority that they consent to. I kind of disagree with that also. I mean, generally speaking, you don't always consent to the police officer who's giving you a speeding ticket when really, I mean, you were only like 2 miles over the speed limit. It's not that big of a deal, right? The quality of life of persons ought be maximized. You should always strive to increase the quality of your life. Sure. Value is discovered. I think this is implying like that everything has some sort of inherent value and you just have to figure out what it is. Yeah, I suppose so. Question 5. Persons deserve the talents they were born into. Boy, this is getting very deeply philosophical very quickly. Do people always deserve the talents that they are born into? I don't know if they necessarily deserve them, but they have them. You can't really begrudge them that. I don't know. The liberty of persons ought to be maximized. Yeah, I think you should always strive to increase the liberty of persons. I think that's like an ongoing, like sort of a generalization. Like you're all something to always strive for. You know, a journey. Yeah, sure. Value is created. Yeah, I broadly agree. I mean, you can generally create value in something. Sure. All right, thank you. The certification process is now complete. You will receive a notification when your user profile has been generated. Press any key to exit. Boop. Cool. Okay, and then there's the things, and we already read them, so done with this terminal for now. Awesome possum. Stairs, going nowhere. What is, oh, hello. Recording number 23.v0186, and you're gone. This game is really great at providing like atmosphere. Okay, so more things. Something strange has come into the world, like a distortion, like something that's not supposed to exist. A beautiful voice speaks within it, from Bob. version 25.5. I would assume he's referring to the time capsule? That voice is not supposed to be here. It is not the work of the designer. We must avoid these abnormalities, or they might spread and undermine the very fabric of our world. From One with Faith, version 10. Of course, anything different you cannot handle. So we're basically done with our circuit of the island. Oh, hello. Hi. Oh, I can't stand in you. You're actually kind of surprisingly solid. Yes, and here's where we found the time capsule. Okay, well, that was entertaining. Thank you for joining me. May the grace of the Twilight Dragon be with you.